Hi, welcome back to Shop Talk. This is Janeen Wright, editor of Greenhouse Grower Magazine, and I'm joined today by Denise DeRue of BrightFarms. She's the head grower at the Bucks County, Pennsylvania greenhouse. Denise, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So I wanted to talk with you, Denise, a little bit about some of the differences between, growing produce outdoors and growing it in the greenhouse, and what makes it a little, some of those challenges that you get with outdoors that maybe you don't get in the greenhouse. I wanted to kind of ask about that first. But before we get into that, let me have you tell me a little bit about yourself and about Bright Farms.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm one of the head growers here at Bright Farms. I've been with the company for about 2 years now. I came here right after graduating from Cornell, so this is all I've been doing for the last 2 years. It's been really exciting. And Bright Farms is a leafy greens grower. So we grow baby leafy greens in a hydroponic system for local markets. And everything we grow is pesticide free, which is a big highlight of what we do.
Yeah, that's a big deal with the produce right now. We were just on a call the other day talking with a produce grower about the two big things were the pesticide free and the locally grown, or the seem to be the big hot things with produce right now. So let me
Mhm.
ask you, where you guys grow in the greenhouse, what advantages do you see about growing in the greenhouse over like maybe a field grower or an outdoor grower?
Yeah, so we see a lot of advantages. So when you're growing outdoors, we might see some issues with pests and diseases and the weather and things like that, where a lot of those growers outdoors have to rely on those chemicals, to help control those weeds or insect populations and such. And since we're growing in a greenhouse, we're able to eliminate a lot of that right off the bat, because we're in an enclosed area. We don't have to worry as much about diseases. We don't have to worry as much about pests. And since we're in that greenhouse, we're able to control things a lot better. So with that controlled environment, we're able to narrow in what pests we've got in the greenhouse and apply IPM strategies, lots of sanitation and crop rotation and such, and really narrow down what's going on in the greenhouse and prevent that from happening. So since we're able to do that, and since we grow leafy greens, which have such a quick crop cycle, we're able to spray nothing at all, right? Which is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So for you guys, I know sometimes the consumer, when they see the produce on the shelf, other than the labeling or whatever, they may not distinguish that difference between field grown or greenhouse grown. What really makes or sets apart Bright Farms produce and what you do there?
Yeah. So we are advertised as a local pesticide-free produce option. So when a consumer goes to the shelf, they see our packaging and they see right on there pesticide-free, locally grown. And we have a little state on our label with an arrow grown right here. So, the customer can see right at the shelf, this is exactly where your produce comes from. It has the addresses right on there. They can look it up and call us. We have a website, which is awesome. And I think the best part about our produce is since we are local, it's not being trucked across country or anything. So we harvest our product, and within 24 hours, it can be on those store shelves. So the customer knows that since it's a local product, that they're getting the freshest produce they possibly can. And then on top of that, like it's pesticide free, so they don't have to worry about any chemicals being on their produce. And in fact, you don't even have to wash it; it's so
This
clean.
is kind of cool. If you're definitely a time saver to not have to wash it and that. But I think it's cool. One of the things I like that a lot of the produce growers are doing now is they've got the websites where people can go and check out how they do stuff and different stuff, and then the labeling, so that consumers really know where it's coming from and how their food is grown. So there at Bright Farms, what kind of systems or procedures do you have in place for growing high quality produce?
Yeah, so we're a hydroponic greenhouse, and we focus really, really hard here on food safety. That is our number one goal and our number one priority. So throughout all of our systems here, we are constantly cleaning, constantly sanitizing. We are always testing our inputs, our equipment, our product to make sure everything is food safe. And we hold our suppliers to really high standards as well, because the last thing we want to do is for anyone to get sick. And then further, like being in this hydroponic system, it really lets us make things efficient in the greenhouse. So We're able to use less water, we're using less land. Like the amount of stuff we're able to produce is just so much more than what we'd be able to do if we were growing in a field grown situation.
Cool. And you've talked a lot about the hydroponic growing. Is there, in some of those advantages, are there advantages to the taste or the nutrients you can deliver in that method versus like a soilless or or actual soil method?
Yeah, so what's great about our system is since we control all of the inputs, so we know exactly what's in that water. So we start off with the cleanest water that we possibly can, and then we test our water every week to know exactly what nutrients are in there, and then we can, decide, hey, we need a little bit more nitrogen or a little more phosphorus, and we can get those levels exactly where the plants need them to be, and maintain that every single day to make sure the plants are getting what they need, um, which I think is pretty awesome.
That is. I think it's so fun to just see how everybody's growing and the different procedures. I know sometimes people think, in the greenhouse, they don't have to worry as much about food safety, but that's really not true. They certainly take those same, cautions and procedures to make sure everything's safe and fresh for the consumers, which I think is something important for people to know that, that the produce farms really do care about their safety and their quality of the food. We've got a lot of people that are starting to look into growing produce and what it takes. So what advice would you give to other growers for growing high quality produce?
Definitely consistency, from seed to harvest, from the greenhouse climate to the cold chain, just everything it takes to grow. Consistency is key. As soon as you lose that consistency in the cold chain or the climate, or then you start seeing those issues. So, if you have a temperature spike or something comes up, or you're not on the ball every single day, like maintaining and scouting those crops and watching what's going on, then you're going to start to see some issues with quality as a result of that. So I would definitely say consistency is the best thing you can do.
So, with some of those benefits with the hydroponic thing, how does that allow you where you're growing year round to deliver that produce when the customers need it?
Yeah, so one of the best things about our system is our flexibility. Since we have these quick crop cycles, we're able to quickly adjust to changing demands in the market and to customers, or if we want to put out a new product, within a couple weeks, we're able to have that product ready to go for the new customers. So rather than in a field grown situation where you'd have to wait for the growing season to finish or replant a whole field, within a month's time, we're able to have a whole new product on the market if we needed to.
So, thank you so much, Denise, for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.